I want little milk. Little milk? Yeah, so last weekend was great. I went to this party. There were too many people there. So much? Too much? A little? A few? Do these still confuse you? Well, if they do, don't worry, because in today's lesson, we are going to help you to learn the difference between these different quantifiers once and for all. Plus, you'll learn a secret trick that I promise you very few people know about. Because here at Real Life English, every single week we make new lessons like this one that help you to go from feeling like a lost, insecure English learner to being a confident and natural English speaker. So if that sounds like what you want for your English, then be sure to join our community by hitting that subscribe button and the bell down below, and that way you won't miss any of our amazing new lessons. So first off, let's review some of the basics. So you probably have already learned at some point that some words in English are countable while others are uncountable. Now, countable words can be counted. This is like the word apple. 1 apple, 2 apples, 3 apples, you see? But other words, on the other hand, are uncountable. They can't be counted, like 1 money, 2 monies. See, it doesn't work. But this might feel pretty frustrating because you might feel like, do I have to memorize if every single word that I learn is countable or uncountable? There's some different tricks that you can try to check. So you can try to rely on your intuition. You can think of, can I count this word? And see if it works or not. If you're still not quite sure, then you can check a dictionary. Most dictionaries will cite whether a word is countable or uncountable. Another thing you could check is if the word has a plural form, because most words that have plural are countable, like person, people, book, books, TV, TVs. And you'll find that most products that you buy in the supermarket, for example, are uncountable. We tend to actually count the containers that these different products come in and not the actual product itself. So to give you an example, we could take milk. Milk comes in a carton, so we'd say that I need 2 cartons of milk, not I need 2 milks. Let's take a look at some uncountable nouns that learners often confuse as being countable. So we have homework, not homeworks, equipment, not equipments, furniture, not furnitures, feedback, not feedbacks, and even news is uncountable, even though it has an S at the end of it. Pretty crazy, right? But sometimes you might want to make these words countable, right? So how can we do that? Well, we can use a different word. We could use, for example, the word piece, which is countable, to make those other words countable. So for example, we could say I have 2 pieces of homework today. I need 3 pieces of equipment. I have a piece of feedback for you. I have a piece of news. Now let's review how to use the basic quantifiers. A lot of, lots of, plenty of, many, much, some, a few, a little, few, little. And now let's test your current knowledge with some quiz questions. My dad has books in his library. There are apples in the basket. Pretty easy, right? But now let's try something different. My dad has books in his library. I don't think he can fit any more books there. He's been a bit upset because he has friends. Now, if you weren't sure about these answers, don't worry. It's because this is actually a pretty advanced use of these quantifiers, connotation. So let's take a look at the chart again, but with these extra words. So many, too many, so much, too much. So let's talk about countable words first. So if you want to express a large quantity of something, one possibility is to use so many or too many. The difference here is in the connotation. So many tends to have a positive connotation. That means that there's a lot of something and I like it. For example, my dad has so many books in his library. It's amazing. On the other hand, too many has a negative connotation. That means that there's a lot of something and I don't like it. It's more than I need or it's excessive. So for example, my dad has too many books in his library. I don't think he can fit any more books in there. Do you remember the example in the beginning of the video? Yeah, so last weekend was great. I went to this party, there were too many people there. The confusion here happened because speaker 1 sounded really excited about the party, but speaker 2 was confused because he used the word to, which means that he wasn't so happy about it. So there was a bit of a contradiction here. That's why it's really important to be able to focus in on these small details, because otherwise you risk being misunderstood. The correct way here would have been, yeah, so I went to this awesome party last weekend. It was great. There were so many people there. Now compare it with this sentence. I didn't like the party. It was horrible. There were too many people there. I couldn't move. See the difference? The same happens with uncountable words, but then we use so much or too much. Check it out. I love being on vacation. I have so much free time to do what I want. I don't like taking long vacations because I feel like I have too much free time and I get bored. And the same happens when talking about small quantities. There are a few apples in the basket. This means that although I don't have a large quantity of apples, the ones that I have in the basket are enough. But let's contrast it with this sentence. There are few apples in the basket. This means that the apples that I have are not enough. I probably need to buy more. Got it? Take a look at this example. Hey, Thiago, can you help me with something?
Sure, I have a little time. What do you need?
Notice that in this example, Thiago doesn't have a lot of time, but it is enough to help me. Let's contrast that to this example. Hey, Thiago, can you help me with something?
Sorry, I can't. I have a little time now.
So now Thiago isn't available to help me because the time that he has is not enough. For the words few and little, it's common to use very to emphasize the lack of something. Check it out. Very few people know what their talents are. You gave me very little time to finish the work. Pretty cool, isn't it? But remember that the key to mastering nuances like this in English is by using it when you speak. And you can do exactly this with the RealLife app. Check out what one of our users, Clyde, has to say about his experience. This is a very practical app gathering almost all the skills that you need to improve your English and reach the next level. Listening, reading, and speaking. Here it is. In addition, you can listen not only to native speakers, but to learners as well. Thanks for this app and keep going. So just like Clyde, you can improve your listening, your vocabulary, your reading, and even your speaking. And one of the best ways to improve your learning is actually by teaching it to someone else. So why not teach someone in the app about these quantifiers that you've learned about today, because that's really going to etch them in your memory. So if you want to give it a go, it's absolutely free. You can download it by clicking up here or down in the description below, or you can search for RealLife English in your favorite app store. Oh yeah. All right, are you ready to test everything that you've been learning today? So you are going to watch 5 different situations. And in each one, you need to analyze whether the connotation is positive or negative. And then you'll fill in the blank with one of the advanced quantifiers that we have seen today. Are you ready? You know, I can't understand these prices. They're so high. Everything's just expensive nowadays. Look at all these jackets. I love it. There are just many to choose from.
Hey Ethan, do you want to catch a movie at the theater tonight?
Sure, I have money. Let's do it.
Hey Ethan, can you pay for my coffee today? I'll pay you back later.
Let me look. Sorry, I have very little money on me today. Man, I don't know what to watch. There's so many movies to choose from. Now for the last 3 exercises, choose the correct option based on the context. There are a few eggs in the fridge. We need to buy more. I wish I could travel this summer, but I have very little money now. Nowadays, there are so many resources for you to learn English. So did you do well on the test? I want you to let me know down in the comments below, what other grammar topics do you tend to find confusing? Let us know, we might just make a lesson to help you out so that you can use your English more confidently and become a more advanced English speaker. Oh yeah. So better understanding language nuances like this is one of the ways to get more advanced English. But did you know that there are several other things that you need to do to break out of the intermediate level? Well, check out this lesson where we will show you 10 ways to become a more advanced user of English. Check it out. Learners who get to the advanced level do not make excuses. So you won't hear them saying, oh, I can't study because I don't have time. Or I just can't become an advanced English learner because I don't have the natural learning skills, or I'm not a good language learner. Advanced speakers got to where they are because they absolutely made English a priority. They looked at their time and they figured out how they can fit English in. And some of that might be through deliberate practice, by actually having to study, for example, the grammar structures that they're still not comfortable with. But also some of it's going to be fun and convenient. They're probably, by the time they get to an advanced level, consuming a lot of content in English.